It's going to be a cold one at Soldier Field on Sunday night, so if you're going, bundle up. And on today's show, we're going to talk about how the cold weather, I believe, helps the Bears in this matchup with the Rams on Sunday night. Speaking of Bears now, if you want to subscribe and support the channel, we would appreciate it. Free and daily videos for you guys. Plus, we go live every Monday, Thursday, and game day. It's Thursday. We'll be live this afternoon, 4 o'clock Central Time, so join us then and subscribe and turn on those notifications so you know exactly when we go live. I'm Harrison Graham. Is it advantage Bears with the expected weather elements this Sunday at Soldier Field? I think it is, although I think it's up for debate how much of an advantage it'll actually end up being. As of filming this, this is the weather forecast for Sunday. The high is 18 degrees. Now, that is at the peak of the day, and kickoff is likely going to be after sunset, with the low of 7 degrees. The wind chill high is 5 degrees with the wind chill low of -2 degrees. So there is a very good chance that when this game kicks off, the wind chill temperature is around 0 degrees and could drop from there. So that is cold for anyone, especially a team that hangs out in Los Angeles 300 days a year. Okay, we're going to kind of talk about the Rams side of this first, and then we'll get to the Bears side of it. Number one, the Rams simply cannot prepare for this. Unless they flew out early this week, which they didn't, and stayed in the Chicago area all week and practiced at like a high school field in these cold weather conditions all week long, you can't simulate these conditions. The coldest weather they have played in all year is around 45 degrees when they lost at Carolina in week 13. They obviously played them again last week, and it was like 60 degrees or whatever. 45, by the way, is not that cold. I mean, that's 13 degrees above freezing, which is set at 32 degrees Fahrenheit. You can't, there's no way to simulate this in Los Angeles. You could simulate rain, practice with wet footballs, but you can't simulate it being roughly 0 degrees. You can't even simulate it being 40 degrees, whether you practice indoors or outdoors. The forecast in LA this week is like mid-high 70s. So there's nothing they can do to try and physically prepare for these conditions that they're going to face on Sunday. Number two, this could be the coldest game in the Sean McVay era ever that he has coached in as the head coach of the Los Angeles Rams. It is very, very close based on the forecast. The coldest game they've ever played in, I believe, was 13 degrees I saw. Now, that's non-wind chill, so technically it could be around there when this game kicks off, but in all likelihood, this will be the coldest game that they have ever played in. Sub-freezing games under McVay, that's under 32 or less. 2018, remember the Jared Goff disaster class when he was the Rams quarterback? Bears beat them 15-6. They won in Denver that season, the Rams did in 2018. They lost to the Packers in 2022 at Lambeau Field, and last year they beat the Jets. They're 2-2 in sub-freezing games with some mixed results in there. Now, people might be asking, well, what about that snow game in Philadelphia last year? That was technically 34 degrees, and they lost 28-22, but they played pretty well. They held their own, so they showed in that game that snow, cold, they can absolutely play. Now, 34 degrees in snow versus 0 degrees, big difference. It's probably not going to snow on Sunday night, but it's going to be much colder than what they faced in Philadelphia a year ago. Let's talk about their quarterback, Matthew Stafford. He has had mixed results, but he's actually performed fairly well. He's 3-3 in his career in sub-freezing temperatures. I was surprised he hadn't played in more games. 5 as the Detroit quarterback, 1 in LA. So I guess the way the schedule just fell in his years in Detroit when they played in road cold weather games like Chicago or Green Bay, they just didn't face many sub-freezing games when he was their quarterback, and obviously at home and in Minnesota, it's in a dome when he was the Lions QB. 3-3 overall, 15 touchdowns, 3 picks, 1,500 passing yards. So he individually has performed pretty well. We saw that a year ago in that snow game in Philadelphia. He threw for like 320 yards and was driving them down late for a chance to win that game. Stafford has a big arm, so his arm translates in the elements. Now, he's not very mobile, so you can't utilize QB run game, which you would like to do in cold weather games, and he doesn't freelance, so he can make the throws if his base is set, if protection holds. He's not going to have an issue in that regard playing in the pocket. He'll be able to spin the rock 70 yards until the day he dies. But in terms of like the full arsenal of playing in the elements, if the Bears force him off his spot, elements or not, that is going to be a challenge for him. But if he's kept clean, he can spin it. He can pierce the wind with his arm because he has a huge arm. Which team benefits more from the cold weather in your guys' opinion? Type B for Bears or R for Rams? I think it's the Bears, and we're going to tell you why coming up here in a little bit. We will get to Chicago's side of this. This 2025 team has embraced the cold weather. They've prepared for it, and they've played in it quite a bit, and they've played pretty darn well. We'll tell you all about that coming up here in just a moment. But got to shout out our sponsor. That is PrizePicks. Whether you're starting a new routine or making player picks for the first time, trying something new can be hard, but in life and on PrizePicks, it always feels good to be right. With high-pressure playoff matchups every weekend and elite hoops action almost every night, the action never stops, and PrizePicks lets you take control. PrizePicks is the only app that offers stacks, meaning you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. Want to pick more on Caleb Williams' pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns? Now you can, all in the same lineup, only on PrizePicks. The way PrizePicks works is simple. You pick 2 or more players and take more or less on their stat projections: passing yards, rushing yards, receiving yards, points, rebounds, assists in basketball, other sports available. Here's a 3-player lineup for you guys. $20 entry to win $85 if they all hit. I took more on Caleb Williams' passing yards, took more on Colston Loveland's receiving yards. Those two have been cooking recently. And then I took more than half a touchdown for Puka Nacua. He is going to be difficult to stop for this Bears defense. Like I said, $20 to win 85. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in the lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in the lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it is good to be right. Okay, let's talk about these cold weather Bears. For years, we've always said bear weather, but the Bears haven't been good, period, and they haven't been good in the cold. This year, that's been different. They're good in general, and they are built to win in cold weather, and we've seen them perform well in tough conditions all season long. Number 1, Caleb is element proof. We've talked about this numerous times. He is, I would say, a top 3 quarterback in the league in terms of, hey, how do you want your quarterback's physical traits to perform in all weather? Caleb Williams is at or near the top of that list. He has a cannon of an arm. He is durable as hell, so you can move him around. You know he's going to freelance. He's thick, so he can absorb contact. He's tough. He's never missed any games or snaps due to injury in his entire career. And he's mobile. So he's got it all from, hey, snow, rain, cold, hot. His endurance is off the charts. He never gets tired. Like, he is built to play in elements. Matthew Stafford, from a throwing standpoint, from the pocket, is as well. But Caleb can escape. He can throw on the run, rolling right or rolling left. So from a bad element standpoint, there's no concern with Caleb Williams because he's got the traits and the physical characteristics that translate through those situations. Okay, number 2, you have a physical offensive line and running game. Now, we've talked about this. The last couple weeks, the running game has not been as good. So that is something that needs to be better in this football game on Sunday. Week 18 against the Lions, 3.6 yards per carry, 65 yards on 18 carries. Against the Packers, even less efficient, 3.3 average, 93 yards on 28 carries. You need to get the run game going again, because how do you kind of just set the tone, in my opinion, in cold weather games? You're physical at the point of attack, and that is running the football downhill, leaning on your offensive lineman, and hitting somebody in the mouth. That, to me, embracing the elements, a lot of that starts with physicality, and that's running the football. So if they can get back to doing that well, and then you get Caleb going with all the things we previously talked about, then you're really tough to stop regardless of what the conditions are. And then, lastly, they can prepare throughout the week, and they do have experiences in games throughout this season that the Rams simply do not. Kevin Byard on Wednesday spoke to the media, and I thought had an interesting quote in terms of preparing and playing in the cold weather. He said, I think our bodies are acclimated to it now. Ben has been doing a good job of making us practice in the cold weather with no heaters on the field. That's been a complaint from guys, but I think in these scenarios at this time of the year, you're kind of looking back on it and saying, hey, I think it might have actually been good. Obviously, you can talk about the Cleveland game and all those other cold games we've been in. It's going to be nothing for us to operate in the cold weather. Now, will it be a huge problem for the Rams? Who knows? And I think that's fair to say. We can say, hey, it's huge advantage Bears, and I do think it's an advantage just because you're used to it and you've practiced and played in it. There's no way to know or measure before we actually see it how big of an advantage it actually is. But the Bears have played in it. They've played well in it. Ben has prepared them for this. Hey, we're going to practice outside, no heaters to warm up in between plays, stuff like that. You are going to get used to playing in 20 degrees. And on Thursday afternoon, that probably sucks. But when it comes game time, you're built for those moments. It's a mental and physical preparation that Ben and this coaching staff have instilled into this team. And I think a game like Sunday is where it could ultimately pay off. So that's the bottom line. It's the Rams can't simulate. Doesn't mean they won't play well. Doesn't mean they don't have guys who have played in cold weather. They certainly do. Stafford has some. Devontae playing for the Packers, obviously as well. I'm sure countless others going back to their college days or other NFL teams they've played on. And at the end of the day, the team who plays better will win. But like in a game like this, you take some big hits over the course of 60 minutes. Certain guys could fold when you're getting cracked in 0-degree weather. So that physical and mental toughness that the Bears have kind of built those calluses up, it can only help, right? Like I don't think it can hurt. Does it guarantee anything? Of course not. Absolutely not. If the Bears go out there and play like shit, they're going to lose. If you play bad, the weather's not going to save you type thing. So we'll see how it goes. One more thing I'll just verbally mention. Cairo Santos knows how to kick in elements. He doesn't have the biggest leg, but when he's in range, he has kicked very well at Soldier Field this year, which is not an easy place to kick. The Rams special teams have been bad all year. Now, this new kicker they've been using, Harrison Mevis, has been pretty good overall, but they had a punt block last week. They've struggled in other areas. So I think special teams could be a big factor in this game playing at home because, again, the Bears are used to these conditions, and the Rams and that special teams crew is not. All right, what is your confidence level in a Bears win on Sunday over the Rams? I'm at a 5.9, so I'm above 50-50. I think they have a decent chance here. I'm not as confident as I was last week, but I do think they can win this game. If it was in LA, I would not be as confident. But the crowd is going to be rocking. The communication stuff could be difficult for the Rams, and it's going to be cold as hell. And I wonder over the course of 60 minutes if that is advantage Bears. I think it just might be. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Chicago Bears Now. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Join us this afternoon. You want this t-shirt I'm rocking? The Bears, Great and the Cheese, chatsports.com/OurTurn. Go check it out. I'll put a link in the comments for you guys. We'll see you guys soon. Peace.